Hello everybody, my name is Parallax Abstraction and welcome to Retro Flashforward, showcasing gaming's roots in the current generation. Yeah, what do you know, a sequel to NES Remix came out, only about 4 months after the original. That's a bit of a shocker, but yeah, it's kind of cool. Based on the review scores from the original one, I didn't know if it did well enough to get a sequel, but I guess so. And, well, I can't imagine these cost a lot for Nintendo to produce. So, yes, we have a sequel. So, I'm going to talk about this a little bit differently. If you want to know kind of what the crux of NES Remix is, and you really want to know what the core idea is about, I would suggest that you watch my video on the original, which there should be a little annotation on the screen right now, and I'll put a link in the description as well. This is very much the same idea, but with some nice enhancements. So if you want to see what the core idea is about, then go check that out. But this video is going to assume you already know that stuff. So yeah, this is interesting. The original NES Remix, well, it didn't actually get great review scores. A few people liked it. I actually liked it, despite some flaws. But the gaming press, by and large, hated it. And this seems to be, well, this one seems to be getting quite a bit better response. Review scores have been much, much better, which is rather weird because it really is the same idea, just with different stuff in it. But it does have potentially a better layout of titles. So that's what we're going to dive into here today. And it's got some other additions that I really like. So, alright, so we got the remix tiers, but what are the base games? So these unlock in kind of a weird order, so we're going to, I'll just go over them here in no particular order, but I've played a few hours of this at this point, as you can see by the number of stars and stamp points that I have, but it's, as with the original, a lot of these games don't unlock right away. So it's going to take a while before you get access to everything. I had to play for a while to get it all. But if you dig into it, it's not too bad. So what do we got here? We got Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, otherwise known as the original Super Mario Bros. 2 in Japan. The original Metroid, Kid Icarus, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. As you recall, the original Zelda was in the previous game. Punch-Out! Mario 3, Dr. Mario, why am I saying Mario? It's Mario, damn it. Super Mario Bros. 2, the North American game, otherwise known as Doki Doki Panic in Japan. Kirby's Adventure, which I have previously covered. Wario's Woods, and I think there might be one more, actually. I'm not sure, but I don't remember seeing anything else when I checked the list, but I don't know what that little notch is, unless that's to indicate the end of the thing. So this works very much like the original one. You play the games, you do the challenges, you unlock additional levels and remix levels from doing that, and you also accrue points, which unlock stamps, which you can use to post to the Miiverse. That's the core idea of it. Somebody once said, I think I may have said this in my original video, I don't remember, but somebody once said that it almost felt like this game was like some weird internal experiment at Nintendo to try out doing something for mobile platforms, because it has the sort of star progression and unlock system and everything else that you would frequently see from mobile games. Now, I wonder if that's true. It's an interesting idea. Would also explain why they're able to crank these out so quickly. So, what are the notable additions? Well, let's just do a thing here from scratch and we'll show you. So, as you can see, the sort of core idea here is that it's just like the original one. So you go into the different missions, assuming that every mission has a different objective within the game. So in this one, it's collect the ice beam, but in some other ones, I am really bombing this. Then again, Metroid is a pain in the arse, too. So you go into a level with an objective, and sometimes that can be collect something, sometimes it can be multiple objectives, such as this. Also, I love the fact that they didn't screw with the game ROMs at all, so as you can see, this has hella slowdown in it, as Metroid does. I love that. So you can either have a specific objective. Some of them are very generic. There's a couple in here that are literally like, watch the demo, to which I was like, really? But it does that mostly to explain how the game works. Some of them are kill a certain number of enemies, some of them are get a power-up, some of them are progress to a certain area, and sometimes they're on a timer, sometimes you have one objective, sometimes you have multiple objectives that have to be completed in a sequence. There's only 2 this time, but that can get up to 4 or more in some cases. So, and in many cases you're on a timer, and at the end of it, there we go, you will earn stars depending on how quickly you cleared it. So I didn't do so hot there, but basically you can get 1 star, 2 star, 3 stars, or what they call rainbow, which is the stars get a rainbow pattern around them, you get applause, and you get some extra points. Hey, look at that. I can now play a couple extra stages in the second remix. Also, certain games, I presume this changes by the day, certain games you can get basically double stamp points for doing challenges in them. Yesterday was Mario 3. It doesn't appear to change every time you run the game because it stayed Mario 3 yesterday, and then when I fired it up to record today, it was Metroid. So that's kind of cool. I like that. So you get the sort of core idea there, and in the remix stages, things get really nuts because they're often multi-stage things, like these 2 here I actually haven't managed to beat yet, and it will throw weird kinks into the mix sometimes. So for example, I haven't been able to beat this level yet, actually. This is a section from Mario 2, and as you can see, bugger, you can't actually see everything. So just like in NES Remix 1, some of the levels it throws weird kinks in. Sometimes you'll have to do play a level with the color palette switching back between black and white and color. Sometimes you'll have limited light scope like this. Sometimes... ah, screw you. Anyway. So you get the idea here. So that's sort of how that works. And they get... it's really weird because... and this was the same trait of the original one. And I assume it's by design. So this basically... the scope of the challenges in terms of difficulties and things like that, they ramp up and down at a very weird pace. Some of these challenges, even early on in some of these games, are brutally difficult. And then there's other ones where you'll go through a number of levels and it'll just be a cakewalk. And it goes back and forth sometimes. So here's lost levels, so I have to get to the goal post here. And any of you who may have either played the original of this or played it when it came out as an add-on in the Super Mario All-Stars pack on the Super Nintendo will know that this is... Super Mario 2 The Lost Levels is insane. It's brutally difficult. Now that part was easy, but... so you can see what's going on here. So... the difficulty curve is all over the place, and I'm going to assume that that's by design. I totally boned that one. I actually never played a lot of Lost Levels because I was never any good at it, and I frustrate easily. There we go. Oh, jeez. And as you can see, when you have multiple objectives like this, you often have a... lives, so basically that's retries, and those don't count against your time. But if you run out of lives, you can continue where you are, but if you continue from here, you'll only ever get 1 star. So since stars are kind of your principal currency here, you don't really want to do that. So yeah, the difficulty curve goes all over the place, but I'm going to assume that's by design because the same could be said of the original as well, and I think that's just to sort of mix things up, which I actually really like. So the games all play like the originals do because I'm assuming this is based off original code that they're emulating with basically the equivalent of a ROM hack because it's, well, they have all the traits of the original, like you saw the Metroid slowdown, things like that. The mechanics all play pretty much the same way. Past the Reapers. Well, I screwed that. I have actually never played Kid Icarus, really. I never played it back in the day, and I know it's a game that a lot of people have fondness for. I really need to figure that out. I screwed that up again, because you can't get detected. The one thing this does show you is how floaty and weird the controls for a lot of these old NES games were. at one point in time. You didn't see me, you little bugger. And this still has all the there we go. This still has all the good traits. Oh, God. Defeating a Reaper without taking damage. That I happen to know is brutal. Let's see what we can pull off here. And I really like the challenge of some of these levels. Like, for example, in one of the Mario 3 levels, it's one of the sort of force-scrolling ship levels. And it scrolls at, like, double the normal speed. So it's really, really challenging in that respect. Stuff like that I think is pretty cool. So, what do we got in terms of notable additions here? Well, as you can see, number one, there's Miiverse posts popping up, which is a really weird thing. You know, Nintendo is pushing the Miiverse so hard, and yet the original NES remix, despite giving you Miiverse unlocks, had very little to do with it. Like, it had very little integration like this, where you can see people posting things regarding the specific level that you're on, which I think is really, really slick. And this is what I love, is they've almost sort of worked in a pseudo leaderboard to it. So here's a cool thing. Whenever you beat a level, you see how beside my star rating there's a little playback button? Well, check it out. It's literally playing back my best, so it will record and remember your best playback. So as you can see here, in this level I actually got the rainbow unlock, because I actually had to retry this a number of times to do it at all, and then when I succeeded, I happened to succeed like a boss, so hey, yay me. But it will actually record that, and what's really neat is if you post this stuff to the Miiverse, your video goes up with it. So you see, for example, look at this. So there's a guy here, he says 30.4. That presumably means 30.4 seconds, which if you compare that to my time here is pretty amazing. So you're like, man, how did he do that? That's pretty amazing. Well, look at this. So you can watch his playback. This is really, really awesome. I really wish this was in the original one. I think this is brilliant. And as you can see, I'm not only watching his playback, but I'm watching his controller inputs on the bottom right there, so you can actually see the specific way he did his inputs in order to get through it in 30.4 seconds. I think that is friggin' awesome. And I love the fact that there's no download time. Like, it must be either integrated into his Miiverse post, so in order to display the post, it has to download the replay ahead of time, or something like that. But I love how you just push play and bang, it's there. There's no download, there's no waiting for it to spool up, there's nothing like that. You just hit the button and away it goes. And you get to see how he pulled off 30.4 seconds. That's fantastic, because this game is essentially a miniature speedrun package, right? The idea is that you're playing it in order to get the best times, not only to get stars, but just to get the best times in general. And that it allows you to do that, I think is just, I think that's really, really cool. And of course, like the original NES remix, as you can see here, there is an eShop button, because every game in the NES remix collection does have a Wii U Virtual Console equivalent. So you can hit the eShop and go buy the full versions of these games if you want. Clearly this is a little bit of an upsell thing, which normally would bother me a little bit, because I kind of don't like being advertised to in a product that already costs $15. More in Canada now, thanks Nintendo. But you know what? More people need to play Virtual Console. Nobody's playing it right now, really. I mean, I've ranted about that in another video before, but it gets the idea. So yeah, there's some cool stuff in here, and it's given me some ideas of some other games I want to cover in the future. I am glad I actually covered Kirby's Adventure beforehand. Some of these challenges are a lot of fun that I'm going to show you here. So use the freeze ability to knock 5 enemies flying. Hitting the guy didn't count. I really need to sit down and finish this game. This game was so good and underrated. I really like this game. Maybe I'll do a retro flashback plays of this game someday. So, but you're getting the idea here anyway, and yeah, I really, alright. I really like those little improvements. Yeah, it may not seem like much, but in the scope of what they were going for with a game like this, those little improvements make a world of difference. Being able to see what other people have done in the game and being able to post your own video and compare. So, I really like that. Now, there are a couple of ways I do wish they could have expanded that potentially a little more. I think it would have been really cool to see something like having additional optional objectives in some of the levels. So, for example, there's some levels where you beat a boss like in Mario 3, and you know how in Mario 3 when you beat a boss, it drops one of those sort of orbs that you pick up, right? So it would have been really cool if it could have said, hey, beat the boss, and also if you can get his orb before, you know, we stop the game and go, hey, you know, thanks for completing this challenge, that you would get extra points, or maybe a special stamp, or extra, you know, an extra star, or something like that. Having little optional objectives that could be worked into it are really cool, because they do weird stuff too, like in one of the Link levels, or one of the, yeah, I think it's one of the Link levels where you're walking toward the boss, you'll see like a little Luigi sprite from Super Mario 1 on the screen that like runs off screen like you saw him by accident. It's a little funny thing, but if they could do something like, hey, catch Luigi when you spot him and get extra points or something like that, that would be neat. Just a little thing to do that. Also, having actual leaderboards for some of these individual challenges would be cool. Like being able to see somebody who posted a Miiverse thing saying, hey, I did this in X, you know, like this. Jeez, he did that in 15 seconds. And being able to see his video is cool, but being able to have an actual leaderboard where, say, it would keep an actual world record and be able to... Wow, this dude is good. And being able to have leaderboards to look at some of the... and look at replays based on those leaderboard entries like you can in something like Capcom Arcade Cabinet or whatnot. That would have been really cool. And I mean, the framework's already there to do it, right? They've already done that. And that would have been nice to see as well. But, you know, little things like that, one step at a time. Maybe they'll do a third one and improve it some more from there. So you get the basics there. I got two more things to show you. So you may recall in the original game, they included basically the original Mario Brothers. Not Super Mario Brothers, the original Mario Brothers game that you could play, which, that game wasn't great back in the day and it doesn't hold up very well. They've included something else in this, which is really weird. Super Luigi Brothers... Which, yeah. But here's what's weird about it. Observe. What? Yeah. Literally all this is, as best as I can tell, is Super Mario Brothers, except you are playing as Luigi, and it's backwards. Everything is back. Well, not everything is backwards. The UI isn't backwards, obviously, but the world design is backwards. The power-ups are backwards. The enemy movement is backwards. It's literally the Super Mario Brothers 180'd, which I would be stunned if there actually wasn't a ROM... Dang it. If there wasn't a ROM hack that already did this somewhere. It's cute. And yeah, admittedly, if you're used to playing... If you've played Super Mario Brothers a million times like I have, and most people have, and you're used to playing it a certain way... Yeah, you're kind of learning to walk again to a certain degree when you're playing it right to left, but I like it's there. It's free add-on. Hey, you know, they included it. It's neat, but I don't know. But here's the interesting part, and the only thing that really bums me out about this is that apparently you only get this thing here, Championship Mode, if you own both NES Remix titles, and they didn't discount the first one. Like, you don't, I don't know, maybe you don't have to necessarily do a full price drop on it, but when the sequel is out, has more features, and it costs the same amount, like, why didn't you at least put the first one on sale in celebration of the launch of this one? Especially if you're going to require people to have both things in order to get this. I don't get that. I think that was a really dumb move, but, well, Nintendo will Nintendo, don't you know? So, basically, here's what this is. This is apparently based off the Nintendo World Championships from back in the day. if you recall, if you're in any way a retro enthusiast, you may have heard of the Nintendo World Championship cartridges. Nintendo held a World Championship event way back when with the NES that had cartridges with it that were specially designed for that event. There were only a handful of them made, and most of them were kept by Nintendo, but if you can... There are a few out there in the wild, and they sell for obscene amounts of money. Like, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars here. And I guess the idea... I've never actually seen it in practice, like in use, but apparently the idea behind this mode was based on that. And what it is... And this is what's weird. And remember when I said they actually had a framework in place to put leaderboards on the actual... individual challenges in NES Remix? Well, that's why this game, this championship mode has a leaderboard, an actual full-on leaderboard. So your objective is to complete a fairly long set of challenges, as you can see, because I have like a 5-minute time left here. You have to complete it by a certain amount of time, and then you have to... you complete these challenges. You can't pause. Like, you can actually pause the game, but as you can see, the timer keeps going. So it doesn't let you off the hook for doing that. You got to complete it in time, and then depending on how you complete it, you will get a leaderboard score that will have a multiplier on it based on certain things, and then that will post you to the internet and put you in a list, just like a traditional leaderboard, which is cool. Like I said, I do wish that they had put that capability in all the games, but one step at a time. And the other thing I'm not... Oh, bugger. Screwed that up. The only thing I'm not sure of as well is every time I've played this championship mode, it has been these same 3 sets of challenges. I have not managed to find out concretely if that's actually going to change. So you can see here. So that's the score I got, and it actually has a multiplier on it. So this is Mario 3, which is also collect 25 coins, but you'll see why this only has one multiplier on it. So I don't know if these challenges are going to change or not. I would hope so. I hope it's going to be something where there'll be like a weekly update or a monthly update or something like that, because just doing the same thing over and over again is not particularly engaging. My hope is that they are going to change that and mix things up. That would be cool, because that's a smart way to keep people coming back. Well, I screwed that up. See, normally I would just fly up there, and that's where I'd get my 25 coins. Derpity-doo. So that's my hope, is that they are going to mix the challenges up a little bit and give people... basically give people reasons to keep coming back. I can't imagine they would put this framework together just to let it languish with one challenge, but again, when you're talking about Nintendo, you never really know. So let's check this out here. And this is get a high score. So you get the idea. Yeah, it's nice. It's a really nice addition. I really hope it's something that Nintendo continues to use in a smart way. And I screwed that up. Anyway. So you get the idea how it works here, and this is the other weird thing, though. See how it shows what my best score is? Yeah, you actually can't select that to go back to the leaderboard. As far as I know, the only way to check the leaderboard is to complete the challenges and have it display the leaderboard afterwards. Which, given the amount of time it takes to complete the challenges, is kind of dumb. It would be nice to be able to check the leaderboard and see how my progression is altering over time. Again, like just about any other game. I don't know. So anyway, I've been talking for a while here, so what do I think about this? Well, as a fan of the original NES remix, I think more of it is great. I think the additions are cool, if a little bit half-baked. I do hope that Nintendo does more with it going forward. If there is an NES... I hope they mix up the championship mode. If they do an NES Remix 3, I would love to see them put individual leaderboards on all these levels that have Miiverse posts and the video feature, the replay feature. I would really like to see it a lot easier to access the leaderboard on a frequent basis. You know what? I may be wrong about that leaderboard thing. Let me just double check it. And yeah, the Super Luigi Brothers thing is cute, but it's... No. Looks like it requires you to go through it to check the leaderboard. That's pretty dumb. Yeah, the Super Luigi Brothers thing is cute. It's ultimately meaningless, but hey, if you're gonna throw in something for free like that, why not? I think it's, I think it's nice to have. So I still like it. I still like it a lot. If you've got a Wii U, and you're looking for something to play on it, which sadly a lot of us are right now, I think this is really cool, and that you can go and buy the full games if you want is nice. Would have been really smart of them to discount NES Remix as well, especially since they require it to play this championship mode, which I don't think they should either. But it's good. I like it, and I think it's a nice love letter to Nintendo nostalgia. And I hope we see more stuff like this going forward. It's clearly not something that takes a lot of effort for them to make, and it's a good use of their old stuff. So, good times. So yeah, that is NES Remix 2 from Nintendo in 2014 for the Wii U. You can grab it on the eShop right now. And yeah, check it out. I think it's fun. My name's Parallax Abstraction. Thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing. And well, I will see you next time.